Wait, what do you mean the pleather components fall apart in Flake? I've never heard of that before. That's never happened. How do I prevent that? Is there a way? Don't worry. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Crafted by Metamorphic Customs. I'm Desi, and in this episode, we're going to take a step back from diorama making to cover a very important topic if you're in this hobby of collecting 6-scale figures that have pleather components. You know, the coats, the jackets, a Batman cape. You'll see what I mean. Now, if you've been in this hobby for a while, you've likely heard it. The deterioration problem with these pleather components. Specifically, they start to crack. The pleather, the outside surface starts to crack. Then it starts to kind of peel back, and then it just completely starts to flake off. And again, that's that outer surface that starts to flake off, and it looks terrible, right? It looks like Thanos snapped the coat out of existence. It's not good. But how does this happen? And by the way, like I said, if you've been in this hobby for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is probably old to you, but if you're kind of new to the hobby and you haven't heard this, you're probably freaking out saying, hey, these are high-end toys. They're supposed to be quality toys. Are you telling me that they fall apart within a certain amount of time? Don't worry. Yes, there's an issue here, but don't worry. This is the episode to watch to learn the different techniques to possibly maintain your figures a little longer. Number one, why does this happen? Humidity, right? I mean, it's even on the Hot Toys packaging and on the little instruction booklet, it's, hey, keep this toy away from humidity. So is it humidity? I mean, the people that make the toy are telling you that's what it is. I tend to think it's rather not only humidity, but the drastic changes in humidity. At first, when the product is new, these sudden drastic changes might not affect it as much. I mean, think about it. The product is made in probably southern China where it's, I'm assuming, right? I could be wrong, but probably southern China where it's a tropical climate, if you will, or close enough. It's warm, it's humid, you know, in these factories. And then it gets, probably goes on a pallet and into a boat, right? Where it goes overseas, again, probably hot and humid. And then it gets to wherever it's going. Heck, even if it's on air freight, it then goes from hot and humid in China to air freight, really cold in the cargo hold of a plane probably. Drastic changes, right? But the newer the figure is, the less likely that those drastic changes will affect it at first. I mean, it's obvious, right? But maybe over time, if you don't maintain that figure in a constant low humidity environment, and that figure's exposed to constantly changing humidity levels, you might have a problem. Right, so that's a goal. I know that's difficult in some places, right? Some places and some locations in the world may not have the best HVAC systems and may have high humidities, and with that high humidity might have altering levels of high humidities, right? Which again, drastic changes. It's difficult, but even if you live in a perfect situation where you have a climate-controlled display room, you still want to try to maintain your figures just in case. And how do we do that? If you can, I know that's not always possible, but if you can, I would recommend keeping a humidity level using your HVAC system, right, between, let's say, 40 and 60%, or maybe even 35 and 60%. Where do I get those numbers? Did I just make them up? No, I didn't. I didn't make them up. But if you do a quick Google of what is the appropriate humidity percentage for museum displays. You'll see it's usually, almost every site you'll find says between 35 to 60%. And they'll even say that's what they try to keep museums at. Try to keep it at that. And how do you do that? I mean, how do you know if you've got that humidity level? What are these? This is obviously, that's 41%. That's the humidity level in this display room right now. Temperature is actually up here. It's a little high because I've got all these lights on me now to film this. But that's a humidity level. And this is pretty cheap. I got this on Amazon. Actually, it came in a pack of 4. So I have 2 in the display room, 1 in the detolf, inside the detolf shelf, and 1 outside it just to see if there's any difference in humidity and temperature. Usually there isn't. These are pretty cool, and they're cheap. Granted, they're cheap, so that means they're not laboratory calibrated. So you're not going to get a perfect readout, but it's better than not having a readout at all, right? So if you can get this, I'll put a link down in the video description. go ahead and pick this up. It'll give you a good idea of where the humidity levels are. That's step one. But more importantly, let's talk about the actual maintenance and what you could do to your figures. We're going to go over to the workshop. We're going to use 303. You're going to see me apply that to an actual figure. It's pretty simple. It's exactly what you probably think it is, but you actually get to see someone apply it. I've always, I'm a visual person. I like to actually see it done, right? So you'll see that done. Plus, you'll actually see other products that I use. I use Angelus Coatings, which is a clear coat used on textile products such as leathers and pleather and basically these components we're talking about now. It works great. And it's just a clear coat. You brush it on and it comes in satin, matte, gloss. You'll see me use that as well. That's worked well. I've used that for about 3 years now. And the last thing you'll see me use is Mod Podge, which you see me use Mod Podge all the time when I'm making dioramas. But it has so many uses. I love this stuff. One of the uses is to fix pleather that has just started to crack, flake, go bad. Now, again, I emphasize, that has just started. In other words, it's a small little crack, and maybe it's starting to flake, but it hasn't started to peel off yet. If it starts to peel off, it's probably too far gone. Probably. But you'll see how to use Mod Podge. In fact, that's what I used to fix my Red Skull figure, which had just had a little crack. And I fixed it back in 2015, and it's been, 7 years now. Still fine. But you'll see, I'm going to point out that Red Skull figure, and I'm going to reapply the Mod Podge again. Not that I need to, because it worked, but just so you see how you would apply it. Luckily, I don't have any other Hot Toys that are flaking, so I can't apply it on that, but I'll still reapply it on that little section of the Red Skull, so you'll see what I'm doing. But anyways, go to the video description below. All the products are linked there, including the products I'm going to use and these little humidity reader things. Hopefully they still have them. I've had them for a little while. And now let's go to the workshop. Let's go take care of some Hot Toys. Let's start off with 303 Protectant, which is the most common of Hot Toys Pleather maintenance products. Comes in a variety of sizes. And we're going to use a microfiber towel. First figure we're going to apply this to is the 89 Keaton Batman, one of my personal favorite Hot Toys. And you'll start by removing the components. This is a great figure to demonstrate this on because there's a lot of area to apply this to. So I'm just going to remove the head gently and then remove the cape. And we're going to do this on the cape first. I'd like to flatten it out as much as possible here. This makes the application easier. And don't worry about the dust area. I know it looks really dirty, but it's just stains. Everything is dry and cleaned off. So we're going to apply a little bit of this 303 directly onto the microfiber towel here. Helps me control it better rather than spraying it on the figure or the component. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just gently pressing down and applying the 303. And as you can see, I'm not really going to put any more 303 on the microfiber towel than I already have. This should be enough to cover the entire cape surface. So it goes a long way. And then I'll apply it to the body. This is an entirely rubber suit body, just like the real suit in the film. But you're going to put this all over. Fairly simple. A couple of sprays on the towel should cover the entire body back and forth, top and bottom. And that's it. Pretty simple. Pretty much what you probably thought, right? No tricks or anything here. Just don't apply too much of the liquid. So we'll move on to our Count Dooku figure here. And here we're going to switch products. So the pleather component here is the belt and the boots. Let's make life easier on ourselves. Let's remove the head and the cape. But we don't want to get any of this Angelus product on either of those. And Angelus is a coating. It comes in satin, matte, gloss, and we're going to use satin for the boots. And this is pretty easy. You're going to grab a cheap brush and apply it on the boots evenly as much as you can, as you see I'm doing here. The trick is once you place it on the surface area, you don't want to go over that area with the brush too many times. You'll place it, maybe you'll go over it to even it out a couple of times with your brush, but once you do that, let it dry. The goal is to not leave any streaks. If you don't brush it enough, or if you brush it too much, you might leave a streak. It sounds harder than it really is. It's actually pretty easy. Next, I'm going to move on to the belt, and I'm going to switch over to the matte only because, again, just a preference. You can do this in any sheen you want. It's just a clear coating. And I'm going to apply it in the same way I did on the boots, just that I'm using, again, matte on the belt as a preference. Again, I'll say the goal here is not to brush over the same area too many times, especially once it starts drying. You just want to make sure it's even coverage. If you're asking, how do I choose between 303 and this product? What's the difference? Well, the 303 is more of a maintenance product that you'll have to apply or reapply every 6 months to 8 months or so, depending on your location. This is more permanent. This is an actual clear coat. One of the great things about this particular product is that it'll protect it and it starts drying fairly quickly. As you can see, the boots are already dry. Only a few minutes have gone by, really, even though I've sped up this video, but it's been about maybe 5-10 minutes since I finished applying it to the boots. And now it's time to move on to the interesting repair part. This is obviously my old 2011 Hot Toys Red Skull. It's got a little crack there in the pleather. And it's just a crack, it hasn't started peeling yet. This is the best time to try to repair it by using Mod Podge, which is a different formula PVA glue. Elmer's glue is PVA glue, so this is a little better than that. And it goes on semi-milky to clear, and it dries completely clear. So I'm just going to use a brush and apply a coat to that section. You see how the coat is divided into several sections there where there's a seam. I'm just going to apply it to that one entire section, even though the crack is just at the bottom. And once that Mod Podge dries, then I'm going to go back with some 303 and apply it just like I did on the Keaton Batman figure, and that'll help bring all of it together. And as you can see, those are 3 ways that you can maintain and even sometimes perform minor repairs on some pleather components. And these guys all look really good. Good way to bring 3 completely different franchises together in one image here. Why not, right? And the boots have a nice shine to them, satin shine there on Doku, but his belt is matte. While Batman has a nice layer of 303 Protectant. Not too shiny, not too matte, just perfect. And Mr. Red Skull has been repaired and also has a layer of 303 Protectant. This should keep everything in a great state, especially in a temperature-controlled room. So hopefully you gained a little bit of knowledge from that. And even if you don't agree on the use of these maintenance and these maybe even modifications, right? Some people call these modifications. I completely understand, right? If you don't want to use 303 or Angelus, or you have no reason to use a Mod Podge because nothing started to flake yet, then cool. That is completely awesome. Trust me, I understand, right? But if you're interested in maybe maintaining your figures or using this option to maintain your figures, hey, I recommend it. I've used all 3 of these products that I've just shown you for years now, at least since 2015. That's when I started using them. So it's been 7 years now, and they haven't altered, they haven't had any adverse effects, right? Now, and granted, you could say, well, Desi, that's probably not the products you're using. That's probably because you keep your display room temperature controlled. And you got a good point. Maybe. Perhaps. But it doesn't hurt to use as a maintenance product, is what I say. And I actually use it on mine. So, again, all the links are down below. If you have these in your hardware store, or your hobby store, go check it out. Again, hopefully this helped. Leave a comment. Tell me what your experience has been over years. Even if it's, hey, man, I've had them for 12 years. Nothing's ever happened. Or the exact opposite. Hey, man, I've had it for 6 months. This is brand new to me. I never even considered this. I'm freaking out now. Don't freak out. But let me know what you think. Anywhere in between those 2 extremes, that's cool too. I'd like to hear the feedback, right? I'd like to know what you guys are thinking because I learned from that too. So I appreciate that. And if you like this video, as always, hit the like button. And of course, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification if you're interested in being notified of the next video upload. And again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. And more importantly, stay crafted.